Hello everyone, this is the second part of UGC NET 2021 Shift 1 paper analysis, and my name is Amod Kumar and you are watching Time Ref History. And before we proceed, I will just tell you that this paper is not only about the paper analysis and trend analysis. In this paper I am also going to teach you how to approach this paper, approach the paper, approach the exam, and also how you have to approach the syllabus. So apart from that, apart from the approach part, I'll also give you some tricks and tips of eliminating the options. Okay, so again and again I tell my friends that this exam is about 50% knowledge and 50% skill. So we are here to enhance this 50% skill, since many of you have a lot of knowledge but you are not able to clear this exam. So we will be working on that front with this video, and I have already uploaded the first part of this video. If you have not watched it, you just go and watch it. And in that also we have first dealt with the first 50 questions of history, that is paper 2, and here we will be dealing with the rest of the 50 questions. And after that I'll come up with the trend analysis, and I'll come up with the number of questions which was of easy nature, moderate nature, and difficult nature. And simultaneously I'll be also telling you what are the questions you could have done with just an elimination and just using the logic. Remember, the paper is not only about how many number of questions you are practicing, and people are running that MCQ videos on YouTube. Okay, so the thing is that it doesn't matter how many thousands of questions you have gone through and you have solved in the MCQ, until and unless you identify the trend for setting the question and trend for setting the options, you will not be able to do at least 20 to 30 questions. Okay, so I'm telling that if you watch this video till the end, not only this, all the PYQs video which will be uploaded by me here, if you watch all those videos, you will be able to hit these 20-30 questions very easily. If you are doing that 30 difficult questions with logic and you are getting 15 out of 30, you will be net 30 marks more than what you deserve. So this is the idea behind these kind of lectures, and this is not just a PYQ analysis. So let us proceed then. Till the question number 50 actually we did in the last video, and here let's see, yeah, from here we will start. So here we left in the last video. If you have not watched that, you just go and watch it, and especially the finishing part is very important for you. So if you have not watched the video till the end, it is going to be not beneficial for you. So watch the video till the end, this video also, and the video which I uploaded, the first part of this as well. So here I stopped last time. So from this question ID 677 we will start today, and as earlier I told that I'll be reading the question here. Like actually I planned these PYQ sessions as live, but due to some circumstances and due to that YouTube policies, I am not able to go online now. So later on we will see if I am eligible for that, but they are asking for verification and a lot of things. I will let you know whenever I am available for this live kind of PYQ analysis. Then we will do it PYQ, and I'll give you one by one question, and you will have to comment in the comment box. Later on I'll see that. So let us proceed then. First question here, you see, which of the following statements are true about colonial cities? Okay, here again, as I said, you have to mark whether they are asking for true or false or not true. So they are asking about colonial cities and they are asking for the true fact. Here again, see, you have to eliminate the options. Okay, in these kind of questions you have to eliminate the options which you are like very sure about. So first we will read, Delhi, Agra and Lahore lost much of its older glory. Okay, if you remember, in the colonial period, Calcutta, Bombay and Madras became the more important cities, and the ancient or the medieval cities like Delhi, Agra and Lahore lost its past glory. Okay, so for me this statement is true. Sorry about this, my throat is not okay. Let's see, I can continue or not. So here for me this first statement is true. So I can eliminate this option and this option, because in these two options there is no A option. So now my weight lies on, see, in these both of these options D is there, so D must be correct. So just verify it. According to CA Bailey, there was significant expansion of small towns in mid Ganga region from around the 720s. Yeah, this is correct. Okay. So for third option we'll have to think. Okay, the Victorian terminal station of Bombay was built after Mughal architecture. I will come up with that modern architecture as well, that colonial architecture and Mughal architecture also, and in that you will be able to figure out that it was not the Mughal architecture, rather it was colonial architecture which dominated this the construction of this terminal. Okay, so this statement is absolutely wrong. Here so now we are left with only this option and this option. Do you think that we needed to think about this second option as well, or the second statement as well? See, here you see, let me explain it. Here you already see that Decca was one of the important one of the important cities of Mughal India also. Okay, it was not that, okay, in the colonial period Decca rose to prominence. Okay, as it is written here, Patna came to prominence and Murshidabad came to prominence, especially after the Battle of Plassey and Buxar. But the thing is that Decca was itself a very well established town even before the British took over the power. Okay, so because of the Decca, this statement is incorrect. Okay, it was just for an explanation, otherwise we could not go into this statement, because we are already getting our answer even without reading that B statement. Okay. Next question is about so for me, again, as I said, I have to categorize the questions. For me this was an easy question. See, I'm telling here with an examination perspective. Okay, so the candidate who is sitting in the exam, how he should approach a question, how he should think, in which direction his thought process should go. Okay, so igniting that part of your brain is very important. Okay, so this is why I am the questions which are of very tough nature, I will say this is tough and you cannot do anything about this kind of questions, and those questions are very less in number, even less than 10. Okay, so the questions which are approachable, I'll tell how to approach it, and the questions which are not approachable, we will also tell what to do with those kind of questions. Okay, later on after finishing this paper. So here again the question is, the punishment for theft varied from Varna to Varna. Who among the following was given the highest punishment? Here see, in the ancient age you must have heard about the different degrees of punishments which was given based on the particular Varna or the committer of that crime from the varna he was belonging to. Okay. And in that order, Shudras were the ones who were most punished. Okay. So here UGC actually first gave this this option as true, but later on they might have dropped this question, or they might have changed the their answer key. Okay. So but for me this was a very easy question, and as you said, they had differential kind of justice system from Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Sudras, and here also Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Sudras. You already know about the relation and the validity of the marriage. If you don't know, you go and watch the terminology also associated with those marriages. So you go through that, they might ask you that question as well. So for here, if Brahmana was stealing something from Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishyas and Sudras, then it was not a criminal act. Okay, so they were only given very light punishments, because they were considered as the carrier of knowledge. Okay, so if you kill a Brahmana, it means you are killing the entire kind of generation which was open for the knowledge. Okay, this is what they believed. Whether it's true or not, it is up to you, but the thing is that this is what they believed, and based on this philosophy only, the higher the varna, the lower the punishment. Okay, remember this. Next thing here is, which of the following cave temples of Ellora are related to Brahminical religion? Okay, so I have uploaded that art and architecture video, and in that first lecture itself I discussed about that cave architecture, and basically the Buddhist architecture I discussed. So cave architecture, stupa architecture, pillar architecture, everything I have discussed in that first lecture. If you have not watched it, you go and watch it. I have discussed each and every feature of that the architectural style, and also we have discussed some important sites, and in that sites I have already discussed about the the site of Ellora. Okay, so but the thing is that I was not expecting that they will be asking question in this much of depth. So I have given the description of the cave numbers, but the thing is that they are asking about the particular temples which is not of famous nature. Okay, so the thing is that again I ask you that whenever they will ask about something which is not famous, then you have to mark the maximum possible okay, so the maximum possible option. Okay, so the thing is that this logic does not apply here. Okay, so this you have to remember. As I already told that it is in the majority of cases, but here it does not apply, and here the option is A and D. So here like you might have you might apply any kind of logic based on the terminology, the word breakdown. You can also do that, but with the word breakdown also it was not very clear. Sorry. So I would have gone with this option, but that might not be true. So here you see our logic does not work, but if you will see that in most of the cases it will work. Okay, so the thing is that if it is working in 80-90% of the cases, you go with that. Okay, and this actually worked for me. It will work for you as well, as I believe. So the next question is one more thing is here is that this is a difficult nature of question, first thing, and the second thing is that here you can see that they are asking by penetrating deeper into the architectural style. Okay, or they are asking deeper questions from art and architecture. You already saw about that that Odisha style of temple also they asked. Okay, so there also they ask in the depth. So here you see that this is the difficult nature of question, and you cannot do anything about this because it is not possible to remember this much of fact, that I understand, and it is not practical to remember this much of fact. Next question is about Who was the first president of All India Trade Union Congress founded on 31st of August? Okay, do you have any doubt in this question? Because we already discussed. This is the third question they are asking on All India Trade Union Congress in this particular paper in 2021 shift 1. And this is of very easy nature question, because again and again I have discussed about this, that it was established under the leadership of Lala Lajpat Rai. So I don't think you need an explanation that how easy it was. Next question is that who was the first elected president of All India Depressed Classes Association, formed in 1926. Here you can I don't know how you think about it, but for me this was not the correct option, and this was not the correct option. Okay, because somehow I heard about that MC Raja and also Dr. V.R. Ambedkar was associated with that organization. But the thing is that they are asking about the first elected president, okay, of All India Depressed Classes Association. But I was not sure in the exam, and it is very practical that you will also not be very sure about this. So you have to play 50-50, and this option is correct. MC Raja. Next thing is that next question is again this was of moderate nature. I will write M for moderate, D for difficult, and E for easy. Here again you see Yakshinis or Sasana Devta, and here association with Tirthankaras. Again I am telling that they are asking deeper questions from Jainism and Buddhism. You see, this is from Buddhism, but you will not be able to answer this question. This is so tough. Okay, maybe if you have read something related to this, I don't know. I have not read this. So the correct option is 1. But the thing is that here this paper is giving you some indication that again they are going to ask deeper question from this topic, Jainism and Buddhism. So you have to go and you have to read about their sects, literature, important belief system. Means it is not the mainstream belief system. If there was some changes in that and there was some certain philosopher who was interpreting it differently, then you have to remember that. Okay, again Buddhism and Buddhist and Jaina Council. In this you have to remember the president, the contemporary ruler, and year. Again chronology is important, and important work from that particular council, whether which things were done in that. So whether there was a division of any particular sect, whether it was the compilation of their text or something like that. So you have to remember those things. So from Jainism and Buddhism, these important facts are very crucial for your exams, and you go through it, you revise it properly, you will get definitely 1 or 2 questions from here. Definitely, it's my promise. So next question is which of the following statements regarding Balban's theory of kingship are correct? How many of you have not heard about Balban theory of kingship? See, one by one we'll read this. Kingship is the wise regency of God on earth. The king is the shadow of God. Isn't it the same line many historians have wrote in their books? This is the same as it is word by word. Okay. So this option is this statement is definitely true. So we will eliminate 2 options. Then we have to think about the second statement. External dignity and prestige were not considered as essential for kingship. Okay, if you think this is the correct answer option, then just tell me who introduced sajda and pabos and why. So the court people had to bow down before Balban, and they had to kiss his feet. So wasn't it the external dignity and prestige which was like it was imposed externally? So here it is saying that these were not considered as essential. If he was not considering in it essential, why he introduced this kind of policies and this kind of practice? So the thing is that this statement is absolutely incorrect. Okay, so again you don't need B in your answer, so the correct option is 4. We are not going to read these two statements because we already got our answer. Sorry. Next question is the Sultan ordered the Maliks, Amirs, officers of the court and persons of responsibility and status not to go with each other's houses or to collect parties at banquets. Means like he was actually asking his court people not to intermarry each other and not to have the marriage alliance. This is the crux of that last part of this line. There were to be no, here again it is making it like exclusively that there were to be no intermarriage among them unless the Sultan had been informed and his permission obtained. Identify the Sultan. Do you need any second thought on this? It was Alauddin Khalji who wanted more control over his nobility. Okay, so it is the question from Delhi Sultanate nobility. Very popular fact. So this is of easy nature question again. For me this was an easy. I don't know how you will think about this. So okay, if you don't know about this, then maybe maybe you can eliminate Firoz Shah Tughlaq because he was a very liberal ruler in this context. So here you can play 1 by 3, means any of these 3 could be correct. So this is how you have to solve. If you don't know, you have to eliminate at least 1-2 options based on your peripheral knowledge, okay, based on your own understanding of that particular topic. Next question is, in the Bayana Hoard, coins of which Gupta ruler have been found in the highest number? So the thing is that I don't know anything about this Bayana Hoard, and when I researched about this particular hoard, I found out that this is a Gupta age hoard and it is from Bharatpur, Rajasthan. See, if this particular hoard is very important for historians, they will ask again different kind of statement regarding this thing in the next papers. Okay, so the thing is that in reality what they do, if they find something new, they will frame 2-3 questions on that and they will give those questions in the subsequent years. Okay, so the thing is that if it is very important for them, they will ask again on this question. So for your information, this is a Gupta age coin hoard and it is from Bharatpur, Rajasthan, and there we find the highest number of coins of Chandragupta II. Okay, and then Kumargupta and Skandagupta. Okay, so there is no hoard of Chandragupta I and Samudragupta. So Kumargupta at second position and third Skandagupta. So remember these facts, it might help you in the upcoming exams. So the thing is that here again if you apply your logic, this is not a very difficult question. If you see, which among the following Persian painters father-son duo joined Humayun's court? First thing is that he should be in the Humayun's court, and second thing is that like he might have been working with his father. Okay, so in Humayun's court again I will go with Sayyid Ali. Okay, so Sayyid Ali was there, Mir Sayyid Ali actually was there. So for general kind of understanding, I will search Mir in his father's name also. Okay, this is just like I have already eliminated this question. So for me this is a 1 by 3 question, and in that also if I have to eliminate and I have to choose, I'll go with my kind of popular belief system that his father also should have Mir, because he was called Mir Sayyid Ali, and maybe it is associated with something else, like maybe it might be associated with some prophethood, some kind of saintly person. But the thing is that the way you think will help you, and this is how I thought in the exam, and this was the correct option. Again, see here, I think this is the second question from that Mughal painting. Okay, and they have asked question from I think 2 or 3 questions from painting. So here see, art and architecture, painting, sculpture is very important for your exam. Like I already stressed in the last lecture that you should always read more and more literature, historical literature, and the literature on historiography basically. So all the popular books of historiography by Paul Collingwood, Mark Bloch, and that Paul Thompson. So these people are very important for you. They are asking again and again questions on the historiographic books. Okay, so I don't actually remember. I think every time I sat in the exam, every time they ask from the popular books on historiography like R.G. Collingwood, Mark Bloch, Historian's Craft of E.H. Carr. Okay, so they again and again ask about this, and these questions were of so very easy nature that I was very fascinated how they are asking again and again this type of easy question. So if you understand that, you at least you read the that very short kind of review from like online anywhere, like in JSTOR or anywhere, you just read at least some of these books reviews. Let's go to the next question, and next question is, arrange the following landmark legal cases chronologically starting from earlier. So here I was also not very sure about this kind of options, but surely we can do it. Let's see if we can do it. So here they have, see, Rukumabai case you must have heard, but for my knowledge I also I knew about this Fulmani case as well. So Fulmani was a 10-year-old girl who was married to a 35 years old man, and like when she got married, she went to home, and then she was asking that she don't want to stay with her husband, and then like because of that injuries and all, she died in the evening. Okay, and there was it was the case of 1889. Okay, and this case came in to court in like the court gave it its judgment in 1890. Okay, so I knew that these two are somehow very close. Okay, and like obviously I didn't have any idea about these two cases, Vijayalakshmi case and Maharaja Libel case. So for me, I don't know about the chronology, how big the chronology they were asking from, but the thing is that these A and D should be together. It was my idea in the exam. So in the most possible kind of place, it should be together, and we have to we have to arrange it in chronologically from starting. Okay, so from starting does not matter for us because we do not have any kind of idea about these cases, but only thing I got to know about this is that option A and D should be together. Then we'll find it that okay, here it is this much closer, here it is together, here it is bit, so these options should not be there. So maybe I'll play 1 by 3, means any one of these three, or maybe I'll go with the option 2. Anyway you can go, and in this case also this is the correct option, the second one. So see how we are dealing questions based on our peripheral knowledge, even if we don't know a lot of questions, but a lot of facts, but we are still able to do a lot of questions. Okay, so here I'll just give you the chronology. This full money case was obviously in 1890, as I said. This Vijay Lakshmi case was in 1940s, and this Maharaja Level case was in 1861, and it was somehow related to the kind of sorry. So this was the defamation case, and we are not going to obviously into that detail how it related to. And again, this was the famous 1884 to 88, when a lot of dramatic turn this case actually took. Okay, so we are well aware of this Rukmabai case, and except for this, these three are related to the conjugal rights and especially the women issues. Okay, so these cases you need to know, revise it, go through it, and at least you have an idea about that, so that when the next time this kind of questions will come, you will easily eliminate that. Okay, this is what happens when you analyze a lot of PYQs. Next question. So for me it was a moderate to difficult question, but if you don't know this, apart from this Rukmabai case, if you don't know any other case, then maybe you can play 50-50 here, or maybe like it is up to you. So I'll rate it from moderate to difficult question, depending on the amount of fact you remember about this kind of cases. So here next question before us is about the 27th of December 1891, which socio-economic reform movement met for its first general gathering in Kadian, Punjab. Okay, so really like if you can eliminate it based on the geographical location, because it was in the west, so on the basis of that, if you are just eliminating it, then it is fine. Otherwise, this is the correct option, and here this is the correct option. And with this question, you focus on the socio-economic and religious reform movements. Okay, and see, in modern India, socio-economic religious reform movements are important, and its feature, geographical area, important leaders, and if there was some famous incident which was very like important for the our consciousness, or maybe that colonial, anti-colonial movement, then it is important. So look for these kind of information in that, and with that we also have to do that peasant and tribal revolts. Similar with the similar themes. Okay, feature, geographical area, important leaders and incidents, and any act or provisions came after that revolt. Okay, so this kind of information is very important for you. Go through it and revise it. So next question for us is, okay, so for me this was a difficult question because I didn't know about this. Maybe I would have eliminated few questions. Maybe I have eliminated this Arya Samaj and Dev Samaj based on their geographical location, but I was not sure about the Nirankari and Ahmadiyya. Okay, so maybe I would have been playing 50-50 between these two. Here next question is that during Satavahana period, the range of interest on fixed deposit, like that was called Akshay Nivi, as described in inscription of Nasik cave number 10. Like, see, again it is very important for you that you go through the architecture, the cave architecture, and also the inscriptions, the literature, and a lot of literature on historiography. Okay, so these kind of, basically the sources are very important for you. So this also comes under sources. So this is the correct option. I was also not having any idea about this, but in these kind of questions, considering the time period, you could have eliminated these two options. Okay, so in those kind of like it was not like people were earning through this share market and all, and they had a lot of sources for making very fast wealth. Okay, so the thing is that might be very low. So in very low I would have been going with this, but this is the correct option, and we cannot do about anything. We cannot do anything about this option. So the thing is that even I was also not able to do it. Okay, so here next question is here, and so then again I'll tell that this is a difficult question. Again, here you see, arrange Akbar's following victories in chronological order. So for me, see, if you don't know anything about it, how to read this topic, like his expedition and the consolidation part of that Mughal empire, I would suggest you to read it in a contextual manner. Okay, so the early phase extends till 1565, and this phase was actually the phase of consolidation in and around the area of Delhi. Okay, so see, whether there is any area in and around Delhi, no. So there is no victory or no war from this phase. Second phase is about the Rajput policy, and which extended from 1565 to 76, and in that he annexed and he made some matrimonial alliances with the Rajput rulers, and in that there might be a lot of Rajput estates which directly or indirectly came under the Mughal rule. Okay, is there any Rajput estate here? The answer is no. So this phase also we don't have any site or any war. Third phase extends from 1576 to 90, and in that he focused in the Deccan. It was in the last phase when he focused in the Deccan rather. Sorry for that. 1590 to 1605. This was the phase in the Deccan. Okay, so in the third phase he focused in the northwest region and east. East means Bengal. So is there any site which belong to these two phases? See, here you can see that Khandesh clearly is from the Deccan, and rest of the three are from this phase, northwest and east. Here you see Bengal, Sindh and Kabul. These all are from like Bengal is in the east, Sindh and Kabul in the northwest. So for me, thing is that Khandesh should come at last. I am not sure about these three, but Khandesh must be at the end. Okay, so here you see this is our correct option. So I'm not sure about the chronology, nothing. Only thing I remember about was the kind of expansion he was doing. Okay, so first he annexed the area around Delhi. Second phase was about his Rajput policy. Okay, basically some of the Rajput estates were annexed, some of the Rajput estates were made matrimonial alliance, and the third phase was about the northwest and east, and the last phase, which was like from 1519 to the end of his life, it was towards the Deccan. So on the basis of that only I have eliminated these options, and for me this was a comparatively moderate questions rather than difficult. Okay, so for you it might be a difficult question, but for me it was a moderate question because I knew certain things about the expedition, Akbar's expeditions. Here next question is that Mullai, Pallai, Kurinchi, Marutam. Okay, and here it is about the terrain, means arid terrain, riverine, pastoral, mountainous. Okay, I was also not remembering any fact, but the thing is that this is from Sangam period. This I knew, but many of you might be remembering this, and many of you might not have any idea about this. So this is from the the Sangama period, and the correct option is this. So third one is the correct option. If you have to make it, then Mulai was the pastoral region, and Palai was the arid region, Kurinchi was the mountainous region, and Marutam was the riverine tract. There was one more fifth kind of land which was Nital. It was the coastal areas. Sorry. So these were the references made in the Sangam literature. Okay. Next question is, okay, so these kind of questions you cannot do anything if you don't remember. Even if you remember one fact, you could have done it very easily. So for me this was a difficult question. Here next question, which of the following statements are correct about the Balutedars of the Deccan? Do you know anything about Balutedars? Or like, if you don't know, we will simply go through the statements and we will decide on which statement is correct and which cannot be correct. So first thing is that Balutedars were village servants and artisans. Maybe we don't know. Like, I know, but I am thinking from your perspective. Okay, so maybe they might be like, we don't know, like whether they were jamindars or servants or artisans. Okay, so from your perspective, if you don't know, we don't know. Watandar Balutedars had a permanent right to work and receive remuneration in the village. You don't see these two statements are very related. So Watandar, if you do this word breakdown rather, you see that it is having some sort of permanent nature, like as far as that the Middle Ages are concerned. And so this statement might be true, but making it true will make this also true. Okay, the thing is that if this was not the Watandar Balutedar, then like how you can define it? Okay, so for getting this correct option is that you have to understand that this statement is also correct. Third option, Upadi Balutedars had no permanent rights in the village and were migratory. Upadi itself means like those people came from somewhere else. Watandar means they were permanent residents. So for me these two statements are correct. Even if you are not sure about this, you can play 50-50 between B and C and A and B and C. Okay, but the thing is that, as I said, for making these two statements correct, this has to be true. Okay, this has to be true because there is no kind of two kind of things and two kind of features. Okay, that they will interchange it. There is only one kind of thing here, and they are just discussing its feature. So most of the time features are correct. Okay, so like if you don't know, you can play 50-50, but if you know, this was a very easy question for me, A, B and C. Okay, this was an easy question. Next is again here, arrange the following queens, okay, who played an important role in the administration and culture of ancient Kashmir mentioned by Kalhan. Okay, so I don't know whether you have read Kalhan's Raj Tarangini or not, but we read this. Okay, but like I'm familiar with few of these names, but the thing is that I don't remember the chronology. Okay, so you go through that, not only Kalhan's Raj Tarangini, the people who wrote on commentaries rather on Kalhan's Raj Tarangini. Okay, and there you will find that the wait, the correct option is 3. So go and search about them. They might ask question again from this. I might have discussed about them, but the thing is that if I discuss, you again forget. If you just simply just go and Google it, okay, who these people were. Okay. Next question is that, so this kind of question we cannot do anything, and this was a difficult type of question. Next question is that, who wrote the dictum, all history is the history of ideas? If you have read R.G. Collingwood's book, The Idea of History, you don't need a second thought about this question. This was a very easy question for me, at least. I don't know about you. If you have not read his book Idea of History, that is around 140 page book, you should go and read that. This Idea of History by R.G. Collingwood, Mark Bloch's Historian's Craft, and What is History by E.H. Carr is very important for you. There is one more book by Paul Thompson, that is called The Voice of the Past. That book is also important, and that book discusses about how to treat the oral sources. Okay, so these 4-5 books which I told in this discussion is very important for you. You go and read those books, at least for the time being. If you don't have time, you just go through the reviews of those books, and later on after the exam you read those books. Okay, those books are very important. Since you are going to write this UGC NET exam, it is very clear that you are interested in going in higher academics, and if you are interested in going into higher academics, then it is imperative that you know these persons and you know how to write history and how they have interpreted the writing of history. It is very important for you. So you go and read that question, books. It is very beneficial for you. Next is that, name the Sultan who, because of his generosity, was also known as a Lakh Baksh. Okay, Lakh Baksh. So again, you might have heard about a lot of people, and so the thing is that I was actually thinking about Firoz Tughlaq. Okay, because he was considered as a very generous person. But the thing is that the correct answer is Qutbuddin Aibak, and I'll put this question in a moderate category. Okay, why in moderate category? But because the thing is that you read in a very detail about these rulers. Okay, so he was called Lakh Baksh because of his goodwill, and he was funding the scholars, he was funding the artists, he was also funding the he was also giving some money to the poor also. Okay, and he was also giving share to his soldiers. So because of these reasons he was called Lakh Baksh. I also didn't know this fact, so I cannot help you. Next question is that, from among the following statements regarding Munshi Premchand and his works, which of them are correct? Okay, very important question about Munshi Premchand from modern India. Premchand was among the first to portray the Dalits as independent and recognizable character, both as part of the poor and with their own particular problems. I don't know how much you are aware about the writing style of Munshi Premchand, but one thing here is clear, that with the, see, if you don't know anything about it, these kind of questions, these kind of statements are usually true. Why? See what he says. Premchand was among the first to portray Dalit as an independent and recognizable characters. Here, focus here. First two portray, and among the first two portray, which one is forcing you to believe that this statement is true? So the thing is that here he is giving you the idea that okay, he might not be the person. Okay, but the thing is that when the examiner will tell that he was the first person to portray, then usually these kind of statements are incorrect. Okay, so here he is saying that he was one of the first to portray. Means the thing is that what is the problem? People like started writing about Dalit literature very late. Okay, and the thing is that he might be one of the first people who wrote about the poor, okay, or the Dalits. The thing is that in 90% of the cases these type of statements are usually correct if you don't know about anything what Premchand wrote. If you know about it, it is a very obvious that this is a correct statement. Next, Premchand was extremely insensitive to political and social movement of his time. How it can be there? You don't see that these two statements are contradictory to each other. On the one hand, he is saying that he was one of the first to portray Dalit as an independent and recognizable character, and like he was so Dalit, writing about Dalit means he was sensitive to social things, social movement. Then why here they are writing that he was extremely insensitive? Here you see, focus on this word extremely. Okay, he is not saying that okay he was insensitive, then we could have thought about it. But the thing is that he is saying, the examiner is saying that he was extremely insensitive, means he didn't have had any sense, or he did not have any kind of empathy towards the Dalit or the basically the social moments, okay, of the lower caste obviously. So here, just because of the wordings of these two statements, you will be able to know that this statement is true and this is incorrect. Okay, next is Premchand was concerned both about social evils, okay, and enslaved condition of his country, which is correct. One of his last and the most famous stories, Kafan, was first published in Hindi in 1935 and later appeared in Urdu. We are not bothered about this statement, since we have to, what we know from this is that first statement is true. See, then we will eliminate these two statements. Then what we know that B is incorrect. So we will simply discard the statement which is having B, and then we are to our correct statement. So applying the logic, for me this was a very easy question. Okay, just apply the logic even if you don't know anything about Premchand's writings. Next thing is that, again, this is what I referred earlier. Arrange the sequence of following parts of Odishan temples starting from bottom to top. Okay, I don't know how many of you know this, but Kalinga style of architecture or the Odisha style of architecture came in the regional style of architecture. Okay, so I don't remember how many times I told you that architecture is very important, especially the features and especially the less known architectural style. Though the Solanki style of architecture, the Kalinga style of architecture, and the other regional architectural styles are not actually very less known, but the thing is that in the mainstream historiography we do not read much about them. So they always think that it is okay that we will ask question from here, and so the thing is that you have to focus on the less known style of architecture, especially the features, the location of the temple, okay, and the deities for which the temple was constructed, okay, and also if there was some ruler associated with that. So this is how they ask the questions. So for here, Veranda, if I'll draw a structure here, I'll just teach you a little bit about this. Okay, be patient. So I will draw a structure. I'm just making a rough kind of structure. Okay, so you know that in the North Indian style this was the amlak. Okay, and this was shikhara and this was platform. This is the general outline. Okay, and you can divide it into different styles. So see, this part was called beki, which was actually connecting this khapuri. Khapuri means the amlak or the upper part or the jewel of that temple or the jewel of that god for which that the temple was actually dedicated. So khapuri was actually the beki actually connected khapuri and shikhara. Okay, so shikhara is not here. This was the baranda or baramda, and here you see this platform or this raised platform was called pabhaga. Okay, there are a lot of other features. We will discuss it in our lecture when I'll discuss in the next lecture in that art and architecture style. So be patient for that. We'll discuss a lot of things about that, but for the sake of this question I have discussed it in a very brief manner. So won't be able to do this, do it. Comment this answer. Okay, I'm not going to tell which option is correct. Next question is, okay, so for me this was an easy question, and I don't know about you, but for me it was an easy question because few of those features I already knew. Next question is that regarding Ses Asuri, which of the following statements are correct? Again you have to focus on the terminology. To promote trade and commerce, Sesa struck fine coins of silver and copper of uniform standards in place of debased coin of mixed metals of earlier time. I don't see any problem in this statement. Okay, so until and unless you see a problem in that, you think that, like, you don't think anything about it. But the thing is that put it in 70-30. 70% it might be true and 30% it might be wrong, but depending on the options you have. Okay, so again read the second statement. He also made some effort to standardize weights and measures. Okay, I'm thinking that you don't know anything about it. Next, in his empire, goods paid customs duty only 2 times. Focus on this term, only. At the place of entry and at the place of sale. Means, was it a kind of GST? So the thing is that whenever you will see a kind of a very imposing statements like this, it might be incorrect. Okay, next, yeah, they are asking about, okay, so we will have to decide. He built a number of sarais which exclusively served as the resting place for the travelers only. So here you see that again extreme statement and again exclusively. So the thing is that if we will consider these 2 statements as incorrect, then there should be A and B for your answer. Okay, so A and B should be there, means this option is eliminated, this option is eliminated, and this option is eliminated. Then you will ask, sir, that okay sir, why this is correct? Okay, like you go and read the history of and basically the reforms he brought, and you will find that this is the true thing. And since options were like that, we can easily think that this is the correct statement, and on the basis of these 2 statements also, this is more extreme. Okay, so if you will consider these 2 statements, you read this and you will find that this statement is more extreme, and this is also having some factual error. Okay, so the sarais were not only built for the travelers, it was also built for the traders as well. So not only for travelers, it was built for traders as well. So for that kind of misinformation, this statement was incorrect. Okay, Next question, for me this was an easy question. Based on logic and elimination, you could have done this. Next question here, who among the following travelers visited capital of birds at Cambe 1623-24? Okay, see, time period is important, where he saw some lame, sick and meatless birds and some tiny orphan mice. He writes, a vulnerable old man with a white beard was keeping them in a box amongst cotton, with his spectacle on his nose, giving them milk to eat with a bird's feather, because they were so little that as yet they could not they could eat nothing else. And as he told us, he intended when they are grown up to let them go free whether they please. I don't know who wrote this. Okay, seriously, I don't know, and I could not do anything about this question. But like, you can think that this actually this was said by Petro della Vella, but the thing is that I was also not sure about this, and it is very difficult to remember who said what. But based on the time period, you could have eliminated this, but for that matter you needed the chronology of these travelers. Okay, so for you, travelers account is very important, and I have already made a PPT on that. Maybe tomorrow or the day after tomorrow I will upload that travelers account video here, and you will, like, again and again they are asking question from that. This is why I have made an extensive video on that. So that video might be of 1.5 hours or 2 hours, but it will cover each and everything. Okay, for the exam perspective. So for me this was a difficult question, very difficult question. Again, question from painting. See, Jahangir's period, certain painters developed recognizable areas of expertise in the field of Mughal paintings. In this regard, which of the following statements are correct? Mansur was expert in painting animals and flowers. Abul Hasan was a portraitist. Govardhan was an expert painter of painting holy men, magicians and eccentric. So for these kind of questions where you don't have any idea about the fact, you go with all, and this was the correct option. Earlier we got one incorrect answer, but the thing is that most of the time it will work. So I also didn't know, like, we read about painting but we don't read this much detail, okay, that who was specialized in what. So if you remember it, it is very good, but it is for my brain it is a limitation that I cannot remember this much of fact. So I'll simply go with all. Next question, again you'll have to follow that rule, okay, that whether you have to put a because here, and you'll have to read all of these, like both of these statements in continuous manner. Okay, Devaraya to strengthen the military base of the kingdom by improving the quality of war horses and the training of horses and archers, he established deep political control over west coast Emporia, thus linking military reform with international commerce. Because military and administrative dominance over the major part of the Arabian Sea provided Devaraya with a new different source of state finance. One thing is clear here is that absolutely these two statements has some connection between them. Okay, so actually this statement is actually explaining this first statement, but the thing is that whether these statements are correct or not. So the thing is that if one statement has to be wrong, then this also has to be wrong, okay, because these are interrelated. So in this context you have to opt this statement, first statement, that B, like both A and R are correct, and R is the correct explanation of A. What would have been the other case? If this because was not fitting in that, we could have eliminated this statement straight away, okay, and then we would have thought about these three statements. But that is not the case here, because it's fitting nicely here, and also the statements are very related and very factual. Like obviously we cannot remember this much of fact, but based on the understanding you could have done this. So for me this was an easy question. Next one. Which of the following statements is correct sorry, not correct. Here you have to mark it incorrect. Okay. Colonial sources cited the rebellion of 1857 as Sepoy mutiny. It is correct. Why it could not be correct? It is correct. They did like that. Syed Ahmad Khan focused on loyalty of Muslims toward British rule in the 1857 rebellion. You go and read watch that part 1 video of this paper only. There we discussed about this. So this statement is also correct. The English free traders supported the East India Company's monopoly in India and condemned the Indian chieftains for rebelling against the company. Here we will see that we don't know anything about this. Okay, R.C. Majumdar refuted to adopt the 1857 rebellion as the first war of independence. This is absolutely correct. Why? Because he was actually not convinced that this was the first war of independence because of certain reasons. Okay, what was the reason? He said the war or this mutiny or this rebellion or revolution, whatever you call it, it lacked unity. Okay, so there were for example, there were few rulers here fighting like in a scattered manner, but they did not have any unity. Second thing about this, he said about this was only concentrated in North India. It did not penetrate to South India, and it did not have any pan-India nature. So we cannot term it as a first war of independence. Third thing he told was it has a limited participation. Okay, so the masses did not participated, only the rulers with different goals, and in particular they had goals for protecting their own empires. They fought against the British. This is how he argued. Okay, so if you don't remember, you have to be like very careful about this kind of statements. For the people who think that, oh, he was a nationalist historian, he might be very concurrent with this idea, but he actually criticized this idea. Okay, so here your correct option is this one. So for me this was an easy question because I knew about R.C. Majumdar. Otherwise you could have played a 50-50 game. Again, here you see how important the source is. Which of the following historians claimed that Akbar's empire in 1592 was said to contain as many as 120 cities and 3,200 towns? Okay, if you see, I would have chose between Faizi and Nizamuddin Ahmad. Why? Because Abdul Qadir Badaini and Abul Fazal were actually writing about Akbar itself. He was criticizing him and he was advocating his policies. Okay, so they were much concerned about his position, Akbar's position in the society rather than anything else. Okay, like he wrote about a lot of things, especially Abul Fazal, but the thing is that I could have easily eliminated these two based on my understanding of the things. Okay, so if I'll eliminate these two, I'll play a 50-50 between Nizamuddin Ahmad and Faizi. So I'll go with Nizamuddin Ahmad. This is the correct option. Like you can go with anyone, but the thing is that this is how I thought in the exam hall, and this is how one should think about a particular question if you don't know the fact. Because in most of the cases you will see that you know certain facts and somebody else is not like having idea about that particular fact. So knowledge in history is not uniform. Okay, so some of you might have idea about some certain things which I don't have, and some of you might not have any idea about certain things which I have very good idea. Okay, so this can happen, and this lecture and this PYQ analysis is all about that, all about bridging that gap. Okay, how you should think. Here again, which of the following pairs indicate female teachers according to ancient grammarians? What do you think? This is a trap. This is a trap question, and this is a very easy question, but this question is here only to make you make a mistake. Okay, there is no other thought that Acharya and Upadhyaya were actually the name of the post rather than gender specific persons. Okay, so these were actually posts, and anyone who was irrespective of gender who was teaching was called acharya, and the one who was assisting her or him was upadhyay. Okay, so there is no second thought about that. Don't think anything about this question. This was a very easy question. This was only to trap you there. Okay, so be aware of this kind of questions. Again and again they will set this kind of easy question, and you will lose that marks. Here, next question. The first pilgrim center for Sikhs symbolized with the construction of a well with 84 steps to reach the water for bathing, which became sacred for Sikhs, was established by which of the following? Means he is asking, that person is asking that who actually established that place. So to like here also I'll eliminate. Yeah, 2 and 4 we can play 50-50 because Amritsar. No, actually not 2. Kartarpur and Amritsar we can eliminate, because if these were the two sites, we would have knew about this 84 steps well. Okay, because these are very famous sites, and like somehow, see, you don't understand whatever you read now. Whenever I'll ask you read any book, it doesn't mean you have to remember each and everything. The thing is that even if you go, if you went through a certain book once, you will have at least that knowledge in your in a background in your brain. Okay, and whenever you read something, that will strike you. So the thing is that if these two are not striking me with this 84 steps, means these are not the sites, because I have read about these two kind of sites. Okay, so there must be 2 or 3. So you can play 50-50 between 2 and 3. So yeah, for me this was a difficult question, moderate to difficult. Again here, see how easy question they are asking. Our general policy is to avoid entanglement in power politics and not to join any group of powers as against any other group. The two leading groups today are the Russian bloc and the Anglo-American bloc, means the West. We must be very friendly to both and yet not join either. Don't think this was the word of this was the philosophy of Jawaharlal Nehru, and this was the non-alignment movement. You don't think this. This is the easiest question you will get in a question. Okay. Here again, see, Sikh Guru and subcaste they are asking. I told you they are asking from religion and philosophy in a very deep manner. So Sikhs and subcaste, but I only, okay, here I only know about Nanak. Okay, he belonged to Bedi. Okay, Bedi subcaste, and Guru Amardas, Bhalla, Trehan, Sodhi. Okay, I don't exactly remember, but for Guru Nanak I remember. Let's see the options. Okay, so A is 2, and here is also 2. So here you can just eliminate these two and play 50-50 between first and last, and correct option is the last one. We cannot do anything about this type of question. Only thing is that how your brain is working in that particular direction. Okay, it might not work in the right direction, but the thing is that your brain should actually work. Okay, that is the important thing. It should not freeze after reading the question. Next question is here, which of the following suttas are associated with the Digh Nikaya? Okay, so for Digh Nikaya, see, only thing I knew here is about Mahaparinirvan Sutta. Okay, so only this literature I knew that this is associated with Digh Nikaya. Okay, and you have to choose the correct option. So what we could do? So only one option is there with C. Okay, for me like this it worked, but for you how it will work? Less known fact, all of these are true, or maximum of these are true. So you can play 50-50 between 3 and 4. Okay. Next is, so the thing is that if you if you're thinking that only on the basis of elimination you will be able to do it, you do not use elimination in easy questions. Okay, you only use eliminations in the questions you don't have like any factual details about that, you don't know anything about the fact of that question. Next question here. Okay, this is 675. From which of the following statements regarding economic critique of colonialism, which ones are correct? So economic critique of colonialism, okay, correct statement about this you'll have to identify. The British administrators attributed the rapid construction of railroads and the growth of India's foreign trade as a proof of India's prosperity. Yeah, it is there. The colonial historians and the neo-colonial or the neo-Cambridge wrote about this thing. Okay, and here you see that wait. Okay, so here next statement is, for nationalists, a negative impact on indigenous industries, foreign trade and railways represented India's underdevelopment of the economy. This is also correct. They criticize the economy. Okay, so these two statements are correct. So for us, one first and second statement should be there, but the thing is that if you are not aware about this fact, we will read it further. Okay, so for the time being this is the answer, but we will proceed further. Here the nationalist emphasized that while expenditure served British imperial needs, it also brought consequent prosperity to Indians. Why nationalists will do this? Actually this is somehow concurrent to R.C. Dutt's ideas, but the thing is that we are not going into that. Okay, straight away we'll do this statement. It is not so concurrent that we will like consider it as a correct statement, but here you see the last statement. Not until 1905 did the drain theory form part of Indian national agenda. Do you think this is a correct statement? I don't think so, because in 1896 only, in Calcutta session, this agenda was actually clear in the Congress session. Okay, the drain of wealth and the drain theory was popular, and in 1901 Dada Bhai Nauroji actually he actually put forward this theory in 1896 before the Indian National Congress session of Calcutta. Okay, and in 1901 he published the book Poverty and Un-British Rule in India. So if they have already did this in 1896 and he already published a book in 1901, then how could this statement be true? So if you are thinking that this statement is not true, then you are only left with A and B, and that is the correct statement. And for me this was a very easy question. Next question here. Which of the following statements are correct about the linguistic reorganization of Indian states? First thing, the Linguistic Provinces Commission of 1848 was headed by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Two things are important here. In 1947-48 and 1948-49, 1952 and 1956. Remember this chronology. Okay, I'll just tell you one by one, or shall we read this. Okay, let's read it. Okay, for the time being, I don't know anything. Okay, so I don't know whether he was the president of that committee or not. Pattabi Siraramulu undertook a fast unto death over the demand for a separate estate, and the thing is that he died, but whether it was in 1952 or not, we are not sure. Okay, next, the States Reorganization Act was passed by Parliament in as late as 1968. Do you think this was passed in 1968, the States Reorganization Act? Rather, it was passed in 1956, and thus the state of Andhra Pradesh was created. Okay, the first linguistic state of India. Okay, this fact you might know there. Next, in case of Punjab, the Akali Dal and the Hindu right wing supported each other. In which case? In the linguistic or reorganization? I'm not sure. So yeah, so one statement definitely is incorrect is C, as you know, and you have easily eliminated two options. Now let's come to the fact. In 1948, it was not this JBP committee, Jawaharlal Nehru, Vallabhbhai Patel and Pattabi Sitaramayya. Okay, and interestingly, in this committee, no one was the head. Since all three were very reputed leader of the time, it was a 3-member committee, but no one was the head of that committee. They were doing it on a kind of a very cooperative manner. Okay, in 1947-8, it was Dhar committee, not JBP. Okay, so if you'll consider it 1948 and it is 1949, in 1948, first thing is that it was Dhar committee, not JBP. And even if you consider this, because it was it was appointed in December 1948, so even if you are considering it in 1948, then no one was the head of that committee. So this statement is absolutely wrong. Then you are only left with the fourth one. Okay, and this statement is absolutely true. He actually died after I think it was 56 or 57 days of fast when he died. Okay, I'm not sure, you just correct me, but I have a broad idea of that thing. And State Reorganization Act. Okay, so the thing is that okay, for more details. Okay, here actually SK Dhar was the head, and he actually refused the idea of linguistic estates. First thing. Second thing, here JBP committee actually refused that, but they also refused about that linguistic estate, but they actually were in favor of making Andhra Pradesh a separate state. Okay, but sometimes in future, it was not that okay, like we are going to create a state. They were actually very kind of futuristic in that regard. In 1952, Fazal Ali committee was appointed. Okay, and this committee, first thing is that they accepted the idea of linguistic estates, but he rejected the idea of one state, one language, or one language, one state. Okay, and thus based on his recommendation in 1952, the first linguistic state of Andhra Pradesh was created. So this was all about this question, and you need to know these facts and have an understanding of all the developments of the time. Next question here. So for me it was an easy question. Again, I have categorized it into easy. Here see, here they have given the chronology of the cultures here. So for me, Kota Diji was the earliest culture. Okay, but this is not solving your problem, since there are three options in which Kota Diji is actually put earlier. So if you see, like, I don't know you know this or not, this was in the 1400, somewhere like 1400 BCE. Okay, so this was, and this is also a Chalcolithic culture. So for me, and this is also termed as kind of a post Harappan culture. Okay, so for me, I have to put Kot Digi at first, and then two more space for this Kaitha and Malwa, and then I have to put Jodwe at the end. Okay, so with this you have to find the combination, and for me this combination worked, and this is the correct option. So for me this was an easy question. You have to have an idea about the cultures, and at least the chronology of the culture and the material events we found there. Next question, like, see how the chronology is important. I think I already discussed 10-12 questions from chronology, and again they are asking. Okay, again from chronology, Treaty of Srirangapatnam, Treaty of Lahore, Treaty of Bashin, Treaty of Allahabad and Kara. Again, I have to, like, see, I know about all the treaties, but the thing is that from your perspective, you know the Treaty of Allahabad, it was in 1764 or 65, and the Treaty of Lahore, it was very late as 1840s, and it was with the Sikhs. Okay, so when the Sikh kingdom was fighting battle with the British, it was there when they had this treaty. Okay, I'm not going to discuss the provisions of this treaty, and these treaty were somewhere in the like, if you don't know, these treaties were somewhere in the 1780s, 90s, like that. Okay, like, this was the idea I had. Like, I know that the exact chronology, I know the details of this treaty, but the thing is that this is the idea you can have based on your understanding. So first thing is that I'll put the Treaty of Allahabad at first and Treaty of Lahore at last, and we are only left with only one option here, you see. So for me this was a very easy question, but for you have to know about this treaty. Okay. So this Treaty of Srirangapatnam was after the third Anglo-Mysore War. Okay, third Anglo-Mysore War, and in that war Tipu Sultan was defeated and he was imposed a huge indemnity. Two of his minor sons were taken as captive, and later on he paid the indemnity and he got his sons back. Okay, and then you know what happened in 1799. Okay, in the fourth battle of in the fourth Anglo that Mysore battle. Here this Treaty of Lahore was with the Sikh kingdom, and you already know that this Treaty of Bassin, it was in the 1802. Okay. With the British, like, it was when the Baji Rao II accepted British subsidiary alliance and, like, suzerainty rather, and this was the beginning of the second Maratha War, Anglo-Maratha War. Okay, I think it was third, we'll see. Okay, but this was before the Anglo-Maratha War, one of the Anglo-Maratha Wars, when he accepted the suzerainty of the British company. And here the fourth one is about the Treaty of Allahabad. It was in the post battle of Plassey in Buxar, when they got the Diwani rights. The company got Diwani rights. So everybody knows about this. Everybody knows about Lahore, and everybody knows about the Treaty of Bassin. Okay, so this was about this question. This was of easy nature for me. Again, next question. Hoes, sickles, small weapons and horse trappings of iron have been found at megalithic sites. Musky and Nagarjun Konda are Mesolithic sites. Okay, so we do not know that this, actually, if you see that this is the like, very heart and soul of megalithic sites. Okay, like hoes, sickles, small weapons and horse trappings and use of iron. Okay, so actually the South Indians started using iron earlier than the North Indians or the other Gangetic plains. because of its availability, and lot of factors were behind that. But the thing is that these are the characteristic features of megalithic sites you don't forget. So this statement is definitely true. So if the statement 1 is true, then what we can do, we can eliminate this statement. Statement 1 is false and statement 2 is true. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are false. These two we have already eliminated. Then now it's a 50-50 game for you. I was actually not sure about Nagarjun Konda, okay, and Musky was definitely a megalithic site. So maybe you can go with any of these questions, but the UGC actually specifies that Nagarjun Konda is also considered as a megalithic site. So both the statements are true according to UGC. Here, next question is, which of the following inscriptions suggests a time reckoning starting from the Bharata War? If you have not read about Ayhole inscription of Pulkesin II, it is very difficult for you to answer this question, but for me it was a kind of easy question, or you can say it was a moderate question, okay, because I have gone through that, like that Ayhole inscription and some Junagadh inscription. These are some famous inscription you should go through. What are the kind of also this Iran inscription, also that Allahabad inscription, okay. So these are very famous, and also you have to also go through that Asokan inscriptions, minor rock edicts, major rock edicts, pillar edicts, okay. So these are very important for you. They will ask questions again and again. So this was a straightforward question. This you could already like you could have eliminated, because Prabhavati Gupta's copper plate inscription from Pune actually is about her accession to the power, like she was practicing power, and it is about land grants, okay. It is not about some war or something. So you could have eliminated this, because like it's a very famous, it is the inscription from where we get to know that some women ruler were also ruling in the Gupta period. Next question is match the following Mughal ruler and approximate Khalisa share in total. Here also you have to apply logic. Like we do not know the mathematics of the age, but the thing is that you have to start from Jahangir and you have to end at Akbar. Sorry, not Akbar, Aurangzeb, because Shah Jahan, Akbar is also there. And if you see, the share was actually, with the time, it was increasing. Of share, approximate Khalisa share in total Jama was actually increasing, and with that trend, if you see that during the Jahangir's time, it might be very low, okay. So you can see that this might be here, okay. So B with 1 means only one statement is there, okay. So like since there was no any other option with this, it was a very easy option for us. But here the logic was actually correct, and during Aurangzeb time it was higher. So the thing is that you might be confused with this, but you cannot do anything with that. So you can either match Aurangzeb here or here, okay. So based on your option, you could have thought further, but with only one fact, with only one thing, we were getting our answer. So this was easy question. Even if the statements and the facts were very in a very depth manner, then we were able to do it in a very easy manner. Next question. Buland Darwaja, Fatehpur Sikri is a monument and calligrapher. Baki Mahmud, Abdul Naqbi, Qureshi, Ahmad Al Chisti, Mir Abdullah Mushkin. I don't know anything about that. But only thing I knew about this person, but I don't know whether you will be able to do it or not. But the thing is that this is very kind of minute details of that. So nobody actually reads about the calligrapher of a particular inscription. But like apart from those famous inscriptions, like the Allahabad pillar inscription and the others, but the thing is that it is very kind of difficult for you to remember. But for me, like luckily I remember this Ahmad al Chisti's name. But thing is that you cannot do anything with these kind of questions. This is the correct answer, and this was a difficult question. Obviously this was a very difficult question. Okay, interesting thing starts here. Okay, you see, earlier I was telling that okay, in the last part of our question we will be able to do like we'll be able to mark more question as correct, because those questions those next 50 questions will have 10 question as passage. Okay, and here are those 10 questions. How you have to do it? You'll have to read it. Ancient India has bequeathed to us to a vast treasury of texts which represent the intellectual. See, whenever you are reading now, you have to focus on the factual details, okay, and understanding part. So represent intellectual and literary activities of more than 2000 years and cover a wide field. Okay, the earliest literary work, the Samhitas of Rig Veda, okay, is at least 3000 years old and maybe over considerably older. A continuous stream of literature following since that remote age, widening the course of countries and impressing almost all fields of human endeavor, excepting political activity, thrown a light on the civilization of India, such as we do not meet with in cases of other ancient cultures. This mass of literature deal with philosophy and religion, including ethics, ritual and ceremonial, cosmology, cosmology, geography, astronomy, and the allied sub-sciences, political and economic doctrines and practices, and in the in a minor way with almost all branches of secular life. It includes, besides a mass religious texts, purely literary works such as epics, lyrics, kavyas, dramas, prose, romance, as well as biographies and folk tales. This literature is a bulky in volume as it is varied in its content, although it does not help us much in reconstructing the political history of India. Ancient India. It throws a floodlight on, enables us trace the various stages in the development of culture and civilization in ancient India, such as it is not possible in the case of ancient Egypt, Western Asia and China, and even Greece and Rome. So what you understand by reading this? The thing is that most of the time, like not 100% rather, they will give this statement from some book, from some articles, like it will be part of somewhere people have wrote. Okay, so they will not give you something random. It is unseen passage, means you have not seen it, and it can have some kind of factual details, and it will not have some kind of factual details depending on the nature of the statement or the nature of the passage. But the question which will follow this will be obviously will be it will be like from history only. Okay, so it won't be like okay, you have not read that passage, then you will not be able to do that question. So the thing is that if you are short on time, I will not suggest you to read the passage. You just straight away come to the question and read that, and based on your understanding, your kind of thing, you answer that question until and unless something is asked from the passage. Okay, specifically that they may be asked that what is the central idea of that passage or something like that. Until and unless you don't need to refer in great detail the passages. Okay, you will see here why. The most popular theme of ancient India dramas are based on the Ramayanas, Mahabharatas, courtly love and tales. Which of the following dramas considered to be written by Bhas? Have you read the name Bhas there? No, it was not there. Has taken its plot from Ramayana. So you have to you have to answer this question, that which of the bhasas writing or drama is having a plot from Ramayana. Okay. Here again, I don't know whether they have deleted or this question or not. Balacharita and Abhisheka are both like from the Ramayana. Okay, so the thing is that these two also seem like, okay, this might be from the life of Rama. Okay, so Ram was he had that coronation and all, so the NTA and UGC marked this statement as correct, but you'll feel that this fact is not there in the passage. Okay. And it is nowhere close to the passage. And this is what I told you earlier before we started reading the passage. So here, next question again, which of the following historical works are authored by Bilhana? Okay, so if we'll think about Bilhana, then here I can think about the Karna Sundari. Okay, but the thing is that even again I was not sure, and this is a pure factual question. You cannot do anything about this. Okay, and you have to read the literature. So see how many questions they have asked from literature. This also from literature. Okay, this is also from literature. I think more than 15 questions they have asked in the entire paper from the literature. Okay. So here the correct option is D, but I was also not sure about this. Next question again here. Brahmanas are the texts which throw a floodlight on the Vedic rituals and ceremonies. Which of the following pillars of Brahmanas and Vedic Samhitas is not correctly matched? One thing I know is that Atreya Brahmana is part of Rig Veda Samhita. Okay, so I can eliminate easily this one, but what about the rest of these? You can just play with any of these statement. There is no other way, so you have to do it. Sorry, this statement is correct, and this is also up from literature and pure fact. You cannot do anything with this question. Again here, Indian philosopher Vedanta Desika wrote Sandesh Kavya. Here focus on terminology, form of lyrical poem. So here you have to identify that literature, again from literature, but here you have some kind of hint. Okay, so with this hint, like in the ancient there was tradition of writers who was writing with his names. Okay, so Aryabhatta wrote that Aryabhattika Siddhantika. Okay, like this is just few examples. So if you if they are asking about literature, and if you find some literature with some sort of prefix or suffix of that particular person's name, you just go with that. So for me it was an easy question. Here again, the 7th mandala of Rig Veda is ascribed to which family? Okay, actually this was the Vasishtha family, but the thing is that again you won't be able to remember each and every fact. Okay, and it was a very difficult question. So here again from literature, and you need to refer that Vedic literature, especially the part of Vedas. Okay, so Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and also Upanishad, these are important, and especially the literature from these genres which are considered as a source of history, those are very important for you. Here next question. So here again we will read this passage. Again you have to remember that if you have time, only you read this passage, otherwise you just go through the questions. Indian National Congress being a movement and not just a party, included within its fold individuals and groups. Okay, the thing is that Indian National INC was having individual and groups as party. Okay, which is what he is saying. Which subscribed to widely divergent political and ideological perspective. Okay, divergent political and ideological perspectives. It was the mainstream organization, but not only a stream. Okay, obviously the Congress movement were never seen as parallel streams as have been maintained. Though they were outside the Congress, most of them were really separate from it. Okay, and at no stage they become alternative to Congress. The only ones which may be said to have formed an alternative stream of politics were the communal and casteist movements, okay, which were not national and anti-imperial or anti-imperial. Several satyagraha campaigns apart from the innumerable mass agitation campaign were waged between 1919 to 42. Here he is giving you the direction that he is going to ask question from 1919 to 1942. Okay. Next, the movement in its various forms and phases took modern politics to the people. It did not appeal to their pre-modern consciousness based on religion, caste, locality, or loyalty to the traditional rulers. So here the idea is that the nationalist movement was actually having the modern thought process as a base. Okay, though in some cases caste structure was lived in villages and enforced discipline in movement whose motivation and demand had nothing to do with the caste. The social and religious reform movements which developed during the 19th century as part of the defense against colonization and Indian culture merged with the national movement. As a mass movement, while the Indian national movement was able to tap the diverse energies, talents and capacities of a large varieties of people to fight against the British rule, emphasis was laid on the constructive program. Okay, so this was about the statement, the passage. Let's say what the question says. Which among the following were parallel but not alternative streams of agitation? Think about these four statements. Okay, it is not again and again I said it is not the question which is difficult, it is the options which make a question difficult. Okay, so do you think civil disobedient movement was parallel and alternative stream? Do you think? It was not. It was inside the Congress. It was not parallel. It was the main. Okay, so you can easily eliminate B and thus you will get your answer. No need to think in other way. Next question. Again, I'm not going to read it again. What kind of individuals were not associated with the Indian national movement? Okay, that question was of easy nature. Okay, the first one. Which kind of individuals were not associated with the Indian national movement? Why imperialist will be associated with national movement? Why? Apart from few instances when like A.O. Hume and that William Wedderburn helped to raise that Indian National Congress and in its establishment, we do not find any kind of like, those were not actually the imperialist. Okay, they really wanted Indian people to have power in their politics. Okay, so they were not of imperialist thought. Even if they were from West, they were not of imperialist thought. Okay, so it is about the thought process. Okay, so imperialists were against actually the national movement. It was not for the national movement and associated with the national movement. This is a very logical thing and this was an easy question. Next, which of the following satyagraha movements was not a part of Indian National Congress program? It was Mahar Satyagraha. You must know that. Okay, and like you see now, these all were like launched by Congress itself, like non-cooperation movement, Rowlatt Satyagraha, Quiet India movement. Okay, so there is no question of elimination. This was an easy question, easy factual question. Everyone should know this. Next one. Which of the following was a non-Congress movement? Again, it is all concerned with All India Depressed Classes Mission Society of India. Okay, why? You can have kind of 50-50 between these two, but the thing is that when Lala Lajpat Rai founded this he was also like until then, like he was faction of the Congress, mainstream Congress. Okay, so this was actually this mission was actually was founded by Vittal Ramji Shinde, okay, V.R. Shinde, and it was founded in 1906. Okay, this much of only you need to know that. You go and read about Kisan Sabha also. Okay, they are asking question on that. Next question. Again, we are not going to read. Which of the in which year women participated in proceedings of Indian National Congress? So here, if you don't know, you can easily eliminate this option, because in 1925 Sarojini Naidu became the president of first, like Indian president or the women president of Indian National Congress. Okay, so like before 1926 she was there, so how can this option be correct? Okay, if you don't know, and if you know, it is 1898 when 10 of the women were actually allowed to see the proceedings of the Indian National Congress from a kind of a gallery. Okay, so this was the first time women were allowed in the Indian National Congress proceedings. Okay, so this was about this paper, and I know like it took a lot of time, but I hope you learned a lot about the exam pattern and how they are going to set up the questions, and the possible fallout or the outcome of this question or this question paper is that this question were having more than 40 questions as of easy nature. Okay, and around 26 question as moderate, and around 34 question as difficult. Okay, I have actually written that somewhere else. So here see, these are 100 questions, and if you are getting like into 2, means you are getting 80 marks. Here you are getting let's say for example you are getting only half of these questions too, means 50-50, means you are getting 26 marks here, and if you are going 1/4 of these, means you are getting 17 marks from here. Okay, so in total you will be able to score 123 at least in this paper if you like focus well. And if this paper was so tough, I only scored 108. Okay, so see like many of the options I was not able to eliminate in the exam hall, and that I understand, but in maximum case this was the paper when one could have scored 123 easily. Okay, with the knowledge, like with the knowledge you have. So yeah, this was one of the toughest paper, and the JRF cutoff was 182 in that. Okay, so you can see that and I think I scored 178 and missed JRF by 4 marks only. Okay, or less than 5 percentile, 0.5 percentile. Earlier itself I told you. So after converting it into marks, I got that it was 182 when people qualified for JRF in this cycle. So you can see nowadays JRF cutoff is going like 206, 204, and that time it was 182. There is a difference of at least 20 marks. Okay. So it says about this paper, it was a tough paper, and in the tough paper also you are easily getting 106 marks from the paper. Okay, means I am just considering the easy and moderate level of the question, and if you are good enough you will be able to score 17 more. Okay, so if you have not watched this video till the end, you are missing out on possible 20 to 30 marks increase in your paper. It will itself increase 20 to 30 marks, and I was not well, still I recorded this video. So I would ask you to watch till the end, like it is already the end of the video, but again some of you will come and just like come to the analysis of this kind of paper. Okay, and the key kind of takeaways from this paper are that around 15 questions were based on chronology, or more than 15. Okay, let me just tell you one by one. So 15 plus questions were from chronology, more than 12 questions were from literature, and lesser known facts are important. Archaeological sites are important, revise features of architecture, especially the regional architectures, and also I'll talk about some tips and tricks. Okay, if there is a very less known fact, mark all or maximum possible option. Okay, option or a statement. And second thing is that if there is a popular fact, if there is a progressive statement, always associate that with a famous personality or famous ruler. Okay, eliminate the absolute statement, means having an imposing kind of thought on your brain whenever you read that, like if for example they have used only, not, okay, like that, then those kind of statements you can eliminate. Always try to think in a broader sense and believe your instincts. Okay, so always try to don't think a question only with the perspective of that question. Okay, think the things which run around in your head when you read that question. Okay, so for example, when I said that chronology question, the Akbar's expedition, when it ran into my mind that okay, in the initial phase he was only focusing in the region of Delhi, then again it was the time when he focused in the Rajput states between like 1565 to 76, and in the third phase he proceeded towards east and in the northwest, and then he proceeded towards Deccan. Okay, so the only thing you needed to know here that you had to identify the particular site and the particular region, like from which region it belongs. Okay, so those kind of things you should run in your head whenever you are reading a question. Even if you don't know the fact, even if you are not able to remember the fact, it is very important to think about from a different perspective from the peripheral knowledge. Okay, that I tell. So it is not a blind guess whatever I told you, but like that okay, less known fact or mark all, it is not a blind guess. The thing is that why an examiner will ask you such questions, that is the question, that is the thing you have to understand. Okay, so this was about the today's analysis, and I hope this is not so boring and I hope all of you have learned a lot from this, and few more papers we will do before your exam. And I'll tell again that this exam is 50-50. 50 means 50% knowledge, 50% skill. That MCQ skill, MCQ aptitude you have to develop before you go into the exam. No matter what you read and how much you read, until and unless you have that MCQ aptitude, you will not be able to qualify for JRF. Okay, on the basis of knowledge you can sometimes qualify for UGC NET, but it will be very difficult for you to cross the line for JRF. Okay, so you have to apply this, you have to learn how to apply it, and with that, thank you all. Please just watch that video and share it whenever, like whoever is in need of this video. Thank you.